Mark Callahan had just returned from a late meeting when he saw his wife's tablet on the kitchen island. Screen still glowing, the notification read, "Lunch with Matthew Tuesday, 1 p.m., La Capona."
Matthew died 30 years ago. This has to be a mistake.
He opened the calendar app with unsteady hands. Tomorrow, 1 p.m., La Capona. No mistake. 30 years ago, Mark had buried his twin after a skiing accident. Closed casket, no body. Something never sat right.
For 2 years, Donna has been pulling away. And now my dead brother's name on her calendar.
He searched the restaurant's address. La Capona was a place Donna loved, but she had never mentioned Matthew. He set a silent alarm on his phone for noon. No message to Donna. No questions yet. He would go, not to confront, but to see. The truth owed him that much.
One way or another, tomorrow I will know if my brother is alive.
The next afternoon, Mark dressed in his darkest suit. On the dresser, a black mask waited.
She won't see me coming. I need to know the truth, whatever it costs.
He drove through the city, the mask on the passenger seat, each red light stretching the silence. La Capona stood under a golden awning. Valets moved quickly. Mark parked across the street and watched. Inside, candles flickered on linen. He chose a table deep in the corner, the mask covering everything but his eyes.
If I leave now, I can pretend I never saw that notification, but I am past pretending.
At 1 p.m. exactly, the door opened. A man walked in, same face as Mark's, just heavier, alive.
30 years of grief, and there he stands. My brother. My ghost.
Then Donna swept in, elegant and smiling. She kissed Matthew's cheek like an old and precious secret. Mark's hand tightened around his glass. He did not move. He did not look away. He only watched. Mark strained to hear their words, catching only fragments. Tomorrow, and everything set. His grip on the glass tightened.
They're not just catching up. They're planning something. My brother and my wife.
Donna touched Matthew's hand across the table. It was not a casual touch. It was intent, knowing. Mark raised his phone. The camera clicked once, her hand on his. Evidence of the impossible. He paid in cash, stood, and walked out. The mask stayed on until he reached the cold parking lot. He waited in the shadows near their car. The mask came off, and he held it at his side.
When that door opens, the lie dies. No more waiting.
The restaurant door swung open. They walked out together, still close, still in their private world. Mark stepped into the light, the mask gone from his face. He blocked their path.
Hello, Matthew.
Matthew froze. For a long moment, he could not speak. His lips parted, but no sound came.
You owe me the truth, now.
Donna let out a choked sound, her hand rising to her mouth. The color drained from her face.
Mark, it's not what you think.
Then tell me what it is, because from where I stood it looked exactly like betrayal.
Matthew's composure shattered. Words tumbled out about debts, a corrupt sheriff, and a life built on a lie.
There were people I owed money to. Mark, bad people. I couldn't protect you if I stayed.
So you let me bury an empty casket. You let me mourn for 30 years.
I thought it was safer. I was a coward. I've been in Toronto all this time as Brian.
Donna stood frozen, silent tears carving paths through her makeup. Mark's eyes didn't leave his brother.
But now you are back, and my wife is having lunch with a dead man. What are you planning?
Matthew's shoulders slumped. He looked at Donna, then back at his brother. The weight of 30 years pressed down.
We were going to take the money and leave. Your pension. Donna added my name to an account.
Mark, please. It wasn't supposed to be like this. We never meant to hurt you.
You added his name to my account. You were going to steal everything. Did you plan to kill me, or just leave me bankrupt?
No, never that. We were just going to disappear. Start over somewhere else.
Mark raised his phone again. The camera clicked, capturing the guilt on their faces, documenting the confession.
I have everything I need now. Your lies, your plan, your faces, that's all.
Without another word, Mark turned his back. He walked toward his car, leaving them frozen in the harsh parking lot light. The engine turned over, and the taillights glowed red. Mark did not look back. Not yet. There was too much to do.
2 years of cold looks and late nights. She wasn't pulling away. She was preparing to leave.
He pulled over and called Frank Delaney, the original detective who had always doubted the skiing accident story.
Frank, it's Mark Callahan. Matthew is alive. I have proof. Call me immediately.
He arrived at an empty house. Donna's car was gone. He went straight to her laptop on the desk, in her banking folder. A joint account statement. Matthew Callahan's name was listed. Recent transfers, $400,000 moved. Mark took screenshots, forwarding everything to his own cloud. Evidence secured. Headlights swept the driveway. Donna was home. He closed the laptop and steadied his breathing. Not yet. The time for that conversation would come.
Mark, you are home early.
Meeting ended early. Long day.
Donna studied his face, looking for something. A flicker of doubt crossed her features.
She's probing. I won't give her a thing.
I'll turn in. You coming?
She went upstairs. Mark waited in the dark until the house fell completely silent. In the bedroom, Donna lay deep asleep. Mark lifted her phone from the nightstand and pressed her thumb to the sensor. The screen unlocked. The thread with Brian was open. A flight confirmation for tomorrow. Can't wait to start our new life. Just the two of us. He forwarded every text and attachment to his own number. And then to Frank. A message from Donna read, "The account is almost drained. Meet me at the spot."
Tomorrow. They're leaving tomorrow. I have one chance to stop them.
He sat in the dark, the phone's glow the only light. The evidence was complete. Now he just needed to wait for Frank's call. At dawn, the phone buzzed. Frank's name lit up the screen. Mark answered on the first ring.
Mark, I got your messages. Tell me you didn't imagine this.
I have photos, bank records, and a flight for tomorrow. Meet me at the diner by the highway.
40 minutes later, Mark walked into a quiet diner under a flickering neon sign. Frank was already in the corner booth. Frank looked older, but his eyes still held the sharpness of a man who never closed a case.
I never believed the accident story. Show me what you've got.
Mark laid out the photos, the bank statements, the forwarded texts. Frank's gaze grew harder with each piece.
This is conspiracy to commit fraud. More than enough for arrest. What's your plan?
I go to the airport as if it's a normal day. I'll identify them. Your team intercepts before they board.
They shook hands. The plan was set. By noon tomorrow, Mark would either have justice or lose everything. The next morning, Mark found Donna by the front door, a packed bag at her feet and her car keys in hand.
Just a short trip to see my sister. You know how she gets when I don't visit.
Sure. Drive safe. I'll be here.
She kissed his cheek, a performance he now recognized, and the door clicked shut behind her.
She's already gone. Now I move.
He went to the study and opened a drawer. An old photograph lay inside. 2 boys, identical, laughing with their whole hearts.
I used to know who you were. Before the lies.
He slipped the photo into his jacket pocket and headed for the airport. The weight of the past pressed against his chest.
Mark, they moved the flight. It leaves in 2 hours. Can you make it?
I am 15 minutes out. Have your team ready.
Mark rushed through the terminal, his gaze darting among the travelers. Frank's plainclothes team was ready at the security checkpoint, inside a small coffee shop. Matthew and Donna sat close, their flight bags wedged under the table. Speaking in low murmurs, Mark spotted them from behind a pillar. His phone vibrated with Frank's text, "In position."
Frank, I have them. Move in now.
As officers moved in, Donna suddenly looked up. Her eyes met Mark's across the terminal. Her face turned white. She snatched Matthew's arm, dragging him up. Coffee cups clattered, bags left behind as they bolted. Mark sprinted after them, dodging passengers, but they pushed through a service door marked emergency exit. Outside, a dark sedan screeched to the curb. Matthew dove into the back, Donna scrambling after him, and the car roared away. Mark stood panting, phone in hand, and dialed Frank with trembling fingers.
They got away. I lost them, Frank.
Frank's voice came back through the phone, urgent but steady. They just rented a car heading to a small private airstrip outside the city. Mark and Frank drove in silence, the road narrowing until the airfield's single runway came into view. A small plane sat on the tarmac, its propeller already turning. Matthew and Donna stood near the wing, arguing.
Stay back, Frank. Give me 5 minutes. I need to face them alone.
Mark walked onto the tarmac, phone recording in his pocket. The wind whipped his jacket as he called out.
Matthew, Donna, you are not getting on that plane.
Matthew spun around, eyes wide. Donna stepped in front of him, her face hard and defiant.
You can't stop us, Mark. It's done. We're leaving.
Then tell me why, Matthew. After 30 years, I deserve an answer. Was it all for the money?
Matthew's shoulders sagged, but Donna grabbed his arm and hissed, "Don't listen to him. Board the plane now." In the distance, police sirens began to wail.
Matthew, it's over. Don't make this worse.
Matthew's nerve broke. He sprinted for the plane, and Mark seized his arm. Donna shoved Mark hard, sending him stumbling back. She screamed for Matthew to get on the plane. They scrambled up the stairs and vanished into the cabin. The propeller roared to life. The plane began to taxi, and Mark stood alone on the tarmac, shouting after them. Frank's cruiser screeched to a halt. He and the officers ran out, but it was too late. The plane lifted off, climbing sharply into the gray sky. Mark watched, his hand falling to his side.
They're gone. Everything is gone.
The plane shrank to a speck and vanished into the clouds. Mark did not move. He barely breathed. Frank's phone buzzed as they pulled onto the highway. He answered, listened for a tense minute, and then his expression hardened.
That plane filed a flight plan to a town just across the border. If we move now, we can beat them there.
Then we move. Whatever it takes.
Within the hour, they were aboard a small charter flight. Mark stared out the window. The old photograph cradled in his fingers. The twin boys in the photograph grinned up at him, frozen in a time before lies and betrayals.
You holding up?
I'll hold up when they're in handcuffs.
They landed on a dusty airstrip and rented a sedan. Frank's contact in the local police had already traced their plates. The motel was a tired 2-story building on the edge of town. The desk clerk, nervous, confirmed a man and woman, matching their descriptions, had checked in an hour ago. They parked across the lot and settled in for a long stakeout. Mark's eyes never left the motel door. Twilight settled over the motel. Then a door creaked open. Matthew stepped out, Donna close behind, their voices already rising. Matthew's hands were raised in surrender. Donna's retort was sharp, her finger jabbing his chest like an accusation.
He is breaking. She is the one holding this together. Frank, I am going in. I can't let them slip again.
Not yet. Local backup is 3 minutes out. Don't give them a reason to run.
Before Frank finished, Donna grabbed Matthew's sleeve and pulled him toward a parked sedan. She was not asking any more. The sedan's engine roared. Tires shrieked as it shot out of the parking lot, dust and gravel spraying behind. Mark jammed the accelerator. The chase was on, gravel pinging the undercarriage as they surged after the fleeing taillights. They raced through 2 intersections. Then the road forked. The sedan veered left, and by the time they rounded the bend, it had vanished into the dark trees.
Lost them again.
Frank received a ping from the phone tracker 30 minutes later. Old logging cabin, 2 miles north. They sped through the dark forest road. When the cabin's silhouette emerged, Mark was already out of the car before it stopped.
Mark, wait for backup.
Mark didn't stop. He pushed the cabin door open and stepped into the damp darkness. The arguing stopped. A flashlight beam swung toward him. Then Donna's voice, sharp and trembling.
Stay back, Mark. I swear I'll do it.
Donna, please, no more. We've done enough.
Mark took a slow step forward, hands raised. He kept his voice low, steady. Matthew lunged, not at Mark, but for the knife. The blade clattered to the floorboard. Donna screamed, and in the chaos, she smashed the rotted window with her elbow. They scrambled through the broken frame and disappeared into the black trees. Mark grabbed the knife and stood in the cold draft, alone. The night was a blur of helicopter blades and baying hounds, but the forest held its secrets. At dawn, Frank's radio crackled. A witness had seen a couple hitching a ride toward the bus depot. By the time they reached the depot, the morning sun was pale and watery. An old bus idled in the lot, and on a bench, two figures sat slumped. Matthew's head was bowed. Donna's cold mask was cracking. She kept gripping his hand like an anchor. Mark watched from behind the depot's glass door, his breath fogging the pain. Frank touched his shoulder. Frank whispered into his radio. Officers began to encircle the depot, silent and deliberate. 3 patrol cars eased into position, blocking every exit. The couple on the bench did not move. Mark kept his eyes on Matthew, the brother who stole 30 years, the wife who promised forever. He let out a breath and nodded. The signal was given. The noose was drawn. The next move would be Frank's. The couple on the bench still had no idea they were surrounded. Frank raised a hand. The morning air splintered with a single sharp whistle. Officers stepped from behind dumpsters and bus doors, weapons low but ready. Matthew's head jerked up.
All right, all right.
Donna froze for a terrible beat. Then her shoulders dropped and she offered her wrists. Mark walked out of the depot, his footsteps echoing. He stopped a few feet away.
Mark, I am sorry for all of it.
Mark looked at his twin's wet eyes, then at the cold profile of his wife. The words were there, but he did not give them voice. He turned to Frank and gave a single nod. An officer pressed Matthew into the back seat. His shoulders shook with silent sobs. Donna offered nothing. Not a word, not a look over her shoulder as the door closed on her. At the county station, fluorescent lights hummed. Mark was led to a small room with a steel table and 2 chairs. Matthew was already there, cuffed to the table, his cheeks still wet.
I never meant for any of this. I just wanted to be free of the debt.
You let me bury an empty casket. You let me mourn for 30 years. Every birthday, every anniversary.
I was a coward, Mark. I thought if I vanished, you'd move on. I never stopped thinking about you.
You don't get to claim you missed me. You came back to steal what I built with my own wife.
Matthew broke into raw, heaving sobs, his forehead dropping to the cold metal table.
I loved a woman who never loved me back, and I shared a face with a man who let me bury him alive. You are dead to me, for real this time.
Mark turned and walked out, leaving the echo of his brother's sobs pressed between those concrete walls. Mark did not go in. Through wired glass, he watched Donna at a metal table, her lawyer beside her, her shoulders hunched. She signed papers. She looked small, nothing like the woman who had planned to steal his life. Frank found him in the hallway, still staring at the glass.
We've got months of bank records and the phone transcripts. It's airtight, Mark.
Thank you, Frank, for everything, for never closing the case.
I just wish it hadn't taken 30 years.
A week later, the district attorney announced the deal. Matthew took 15 years. Donna pled guilty to fraud.
I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief. Just a hollow space where my life used to be.
He packed a single box. The old photograph went inside, along with a few shirts. Everything else he left. A realtor's sign swung in the autumn wind. Mark drove away without looking back. A small cottage on the Maine coast became his refuge. The sea wind was his only company.
No more meetings, no more lies, just the tide and the cold, salt air.
On the anniversary of the accident, he drove to the old cemetery. The row of headstones had not changed. He stood before a granite marker that still read Matthew Callahan, 1965 to 1996. A lie chiseled in stone. From his coat, he produced a single red rose and laid it gently at the base of the stone.
I miss the brother I thought I had.
He did not weep. The tears had long since dried, but the ache remained, quieter now, like a distant foghorn. Mark turned and walked the narrow path, leaving the rose to the autumn and the silence. The original grave remained, a monument to a boy he once knew and a man who never existed. For the brother he thought he had, Mark left that rose, but he took the truth with him, and that was enough. Months after the cemetery, Mark sat on his porch, the old photograph resting in his palm.
2 boys, laughing before the world taught us what betrayal meant.
A single tear traced the line of his cheek. It wasn't anger anymore. It was something quieter.
I grieved a ghost. Now I can grieve the boy I once loved and let the man go.
A faint smile crossed his lips. Not happiness, but something resembling peace. He set the photograph on the armrest, face down. The past had its place, and it was no longer in his hands. The tide rolled in, indifferent and eternal. Mark watched the waves, the weight of 30 years finally light enough to carry.
This is enough. 1 man, 1 sea, 1 life left to live.
The photograph lay beside him, forgotten for now, as the sun began to set over the water. The cemetery lay quiet under a gray November sky, all color drained from the world, save for a single point of red. The rose had wilted, its petals bruised by the wind, but it still lay faithfully against the granite. A marker for a boy who never grew old, and a man who grew into a stranger. But there was a time before, a time of scraped knees and shared laughter, a promise that nothing would ever come between them. That promise was real, even if it couldn't last. The image faded, and the rose remained. The camera pulls away, the gravestone growing smaller among its silent neighbors. No one walks these paths today. The world is still, holding its breath. Mark found the truth, but the truth was a double-edged blade, and its cut would never fully heal. And somewhere, the ocean kept its rhythm, and the rose kept its vigil.